Hey guys, thanks for coming today. We're just going to talk about your experiences with the internet, and if you guys have any tips for social networks for kids who are experiencing them for the first time, that could help them out. So, the first topic we're going to discuss is Y.E.S.S. is best. So let's take a look at the video that we have for that.
The definition of cyberbullying is the use of electronic communication to bully a person, typically by sending messages of an intimidating or threatening nature. If you believe you are the victim of cyberbullying, remember the acronym slogan, Y.E.S.S is best. The steps to follow are simple reminders. Yield. Hold back your emotions and do not write back. Exit. Quit the chat and exit immediately. Seek. Seek out a trusted adult at home or at school. Speak. Use advice to either speak to the offender to resolve the issue or move to other alternatives given. Remember Y.E.S.S to help deal with cyberbullying. Yield, exit, seek, and speak, because Y.E.S.S is best.
I'm sure all of us know that social media and social networks can be a large source for harassment and cyberbullying. And I'm sure many of us have had an experience where we got on a social network and our parents didn't know about it, or something or the other. And so has that ever happened to you guys, or do you have an experience that you'd like to share firsthand?
Well, my first experience with social media was MySpace. We really didn't tell our parents. It was me and a couple of friends. It was kind of our way to secretly talk to each other about things going on in school.
I didn't really have one without my parents knowing, but when I first made mine, I had to change my age. So now this year I'll be 29 on my birthday, because you had to be a certain age to make one, and I obviously wasn't that old yet, so.
My parents didn't even know I had a Facebook at first, and so, I was friends with a bunch of people, and one day one of the dads of one of my friends mentioned something to my mom about something he saw that I posted on Facebook, and my mom found out and was really mad and didn't even let me get on any social networking site for 2 years after that.
I also think it's important, when you're on those social networks, to recognize bad situations you might find yourself in, and then just get out of them and then seek help from an adult.
So if you're not paying attention to the rules of internet safety and you keep posting bad content, send could be the end. So let's take a look at what happens. So, Riley, you got anything you want to tell us?
Obviously you can see in the video that, I even felt bad just doing that even for the video, because it's just such an awful thing to do to somebody, and you can get in so much trouble by teachers, principals, and if you see stuff like that happening, you need to tell somebody and let them know, because that's not okay.
Yeah, have you guys ever posted anything that you might have regretted at the time, or that probably wasn't in the right character?
I think we've all posted stuff that we've regretted, but I had a friend who posted a racist comment, and her friend saw it and was really offended by it, and it almost ruined their friendship. So I think that was a really big deal that she did that.
Last year I made a joke about the Titanic on Facebook, and my dad got really mad at me because it was disrespectful.
And a lot of the times it can come from the other end. How about cyberbullying? Have you guys ever experienced that firsthand?
A girl tried to cyberbully me in middle school, and it was just really hurtful, and I kind of fought back instead of just going to tell somebody, and it kind of almost fueled the fire, and it just was unnecessary and went longer than it should have.
I used to have an Ask FM, one of those things, I don't know if you guys have any, where people can ask you like anonymous questions, and people used to say just really mean things on anonymous, so I wouldn't know who it was, and it was awful, and so I just ended up deleting it, but it affected me for a while.
Yeah, and I think cyberbullying, it's something that it's kind of overwhelming, and so it's hard to tell a parent or a teacher or an administrator at first, but in the end it'll be the right thing to do.
Especially if you're fighting back, because then you don't want to get in trouble either, but it's really going to prevent a lot, I think, in the end.
And it's even worse when you don't know who's on the other end. And I think it's important to know who's in your chat room, who's on these social networking websites. So let's take a look at a video. A lot of social networks, you know who's on the other end. It's friends, families, close acquaintances, but there's also websites where it's completely anonymous and you don't know who you're talking to out there. Have you guys ever had any experiences, or do you guys go on websites where you don't know who's on the other end?
Well, there's not only websites like chat rooms and Facebook and stuff, but things like Xbox, for example, you're playing with strangers and you're talking to them. So, I mean, I did that when I was younger, so I feel like that's where a lot of bullying can happen.
Why do you guys get on these chat rooms? What's the appeal? Why are you guys talking to strangers in the first place, I guess?
It's like sometimes when you're bored or like you're alone or none of your friends can hang out, you just go online because you have no one else to talk to. So
I think part of it might be because you don't really realize you're talking to someone else. It almost seems fake because you're behind a computer.
In a lot of these situations, you feel safe because you're able to hide behind a screen and it's not real life confrontation, but in reality, it's one of the most dangerous places that you can go on the web. And I feel like there's a lot of red flags that can come up. Do you guys have any red flags in your mind that you experience when you're on these websites or networks?
Definitely, like, when you're talking to somebody and, they start asking weird questions like, where do you live? Do you want to go meet up somewhere? Especially if you've never met them before, or if you're trying to ask them questions they won't answer, like if you're asking, what do you look like? What do you like to do? And they don't really tell you those kind of things, but would rather just meet up with you and talk in person or something like that. That's when it gets a little creepy.
I know that, like I said, clipping them before kind of as a joke, but when I was younger and used to go on that for fun, they used to block numbers so that you couldn't put your address or your phone number or emails and stuff like that. And they also used to block language, it's like cuss words. So if you start seeing that kind of stuff, I think that's kind of your, signal to get out of the chat room or wherever you are.
Yeah, and I think with that, the thing a lot of us don't realize is that we do carry an online reputation, and we need to know how it affects us. So let's take a look at a video about that.
Yeah, I definitely know a lot of people with a bad online reputation.
Yeah, I know personally I make an effort to I've never swear on social networks or anything. I don't say stupid stuff. I just use it to see what my friends are doing and whatever. I don't like bully people. I've never said anything mean on Twitter.
Well, when I was younger, I mean, it was cool to say these awful things, and I know it sounds terrible right now, but looking back at it, like, it's permanent and it's there, and I can't take it back. So my reputation's been a little bit, just damaged.
Yeah, and I think what we don't realize is that in most cases, there's a lot of people looking at your online networks and your social websites, and they don't realize that we do create a reputation for ourselves. Do you guys know of any instances where you guys have seen something that someone probably shouldn't have posted that, or just wasn't in the right?
I mean, like, I have a cousin who likes to post all these things about, like, drugs and doing them and how cool it is, and then he was trying to get into, like, this really high-up boarding school, and they wouldn't let him because they looked at his Facebook and thought it was completely inappropriate.
I actually have to watch my Twitter and Facebook and, all my social media sites because coaches are looking at them for soccer scholarships and going to school, and even people who are going to hire you for a job will look at your videos and your pictures on Instagram and all of your personal, information to see what you're really like socially. Because you can act anyway in front of an interview, but when they actually see what you're like, it's a little bit different.
How do you guys think that you can change your online reputation before it gets too late to the point where you're not making it into that boarding school or you can't go to that college because of what you posted?
You just always want to post something and knowing that your parents or your grandparents are going to see that, so just watch what you say and be appropriate and respectful.
All right, guys, thank you so much for coming in today and talking about it. I know it's certainly helpful to be able to listen to other people's experiences and hear what they have to say, and I certainly think that anybody listening to this today will benefit from the tips they heard and everything they learned.